Poltergeist presents Terrifying Tales.
Hi, I'm Debbie.
And I'm Allison.
And we're the Poltergals.
Spooky.
This is from the book Ghost Stories of Texas by Joanne Christensen, published by Lone Pine Publishing. You can find them at lonepinepublishing.com or at ghostbooks.net.
A whispered warning. It was a lovely May evening in 1967, and Charles and Sandra Ray had just finished dinner. They were relaxed as they exchanged stories of the day. Increasingly, however, Sandra found it difficult to concentrate on the conversation. For no apparent reason, she was becoming anxious, and her mind kept drifting to thoughts of her younger brother, Joe, a university student in New Orleans. Joe was planning to drive home to Dallas for a visit that week. Charles Ray suggested to his wife that she was simply nervous about her brothers being on the highway and assured her that the drive was easy and nothing to be concerned about. Still, Sandra fretted throughout the evening and by bedtime felt much too tense to sleep. Sandra had no way of reaching her brother, so she called her parents. "Is anything wrong, Mom? I just can't shake this feeling." Sandra's mother assured her that all was well in their home, but Sandra's anxiety continued to grow, and she spent the entire night pacing the floor and worrying about her brother. Early the next morning, the phone rang. When Sandra picked up the receiver and heard Joe's voice, she nearly fainted with relief. And when he told her what had happened to him the previous evening, she finally understood her strange foreboding. Joe had set out driving the night before, but his car battery died before he even left New Orleans city limits. When he pulled over to the curb, the car behind him pulled over as well. Two men got out and walked toward Joe. They were shadowy figures, silhouetted in the headlights of their own vehicle. "Do you need some help there?" one of them called as they approached. "Can we lend a hand?" They sounded like good Samaritans, but Joe later told Sandra that he knew instantly that something was amiss. He was right. It soon became apparent that the men intended to rob him, not help him. A gun was drawn and fight ensued, and Joe was luckily able to fend off his attackers and get back in his car. He prayed for a miracle as he turned the ignition key, and his prayer was answered when the dead engine roared to life. Joe sped off and drove to the nearest filling station, where he regained his composure and purchased a brand new battery. "I took a bit of a beating, but I'm thankful I wasn't murdered," he finished. Sandra was stunned. "How did you know, Joe?" she asked. "You said you knew right away that there was going to be trouble. How did you know?" There was a brief silence on the line. Then Joe answered. "You tell me, sis," he said. "Because when those men first approached me, it was your voice I heard whispering in my ear. You said, 'Danger, my brother, danger.'" Be sure to follow us on Facebook or on YouTube at The Poltergals, or on Instagram at @the_Poltergals. You can also find us wherever you get your podcast or at roguemedianetwork.com.
You've been listening to the Poltergals,
A Rogue Media Network podcast.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.